Right. I think I'm in. Make sure I'm not muted. All right. Looks good. Hi. Good morning. Not sure who's there yet. I can't tell. But anyway, welcome. So this is, as I'm sure you're well aware, prenatal yoga. My name is Maureen, and we'll get started in just a moment on our mats or on our spaces, wherever that may be. Just want to make sure that you get the chance to grab anything you may need. So if nothing else, having a towel or a blanket, something comfortable to sit on may help. If you do happen to have props such as blocks or bolsters, a bolster perhaps, that may come in handy for Shavasana. Obviously it's not required, but if you have it, I'll offer an option to use the bolster. And a couple of blocks or something similar, about this height perhaps, kind of block-like structure, maybe a couple of large books could work, or anything else similar to that if you would like to have that with you as well. So water is a nice one to have as well. Obviously you're at home, you can grab whatever you need, make yourself comfortable. And we're going to begin on our mats. So I will come to mine, join me. So before we start to get into any of the big movements, I will say, depending on where you are in your pregnancy journey, if you are first trimester and you're dealing with fatigue and or nausea, take as many breaks as you need. Skip anything that doesn't feel right for you. And that goes throughout any trimester. And you may find third trimester, you're also experiencing a lot of fatigue as well, once it's coming closer to the time for baby to arrive. So just listen to your body. Let that guide you through your practice. So maybe what I'm saying is not going to be right for you at this time. And like I said, you're at home. You can make this your own. I'll just kind of be your guide today. So once you have everything you need and you have a comfortable seat, and that can be anything from sitting legs crossed, legs kind of stretched out. You can even sit in a chair or on something elevated if you want to sit up on that bolster, blanket, any props you may have. So as long as you have a comfortable seat and you can sit with a nice long spine so that you're not slouching, you're not hunched forward, you're not struggling to sit upright. And once you have that comfortable seat, we're going to work on some breath work before we throw in some more movement. Allow your eyes to close when you feel ready for that. And then with your eyes closed, just begin to notice the way you breathe without changing anything yet. Just start to notice the quality of your breath as well as how long the inhales may be and how long the exhales may be. Then as you make those observations, just slowly working to even out the breath a bit more. So if your inhales tend to be longer than the exhales, or the exhales longer than the inhales, then try to find a balance between the two so that each inhalation and each exhalation is long and complete. And the breath becomes a little bit fuller. So maybe take in a little bit more air with your next inhale and let a little bit more air escape with your exhale. Then let's do 3 open mouth sighs. So as you inhale next, bring that air in through your nostrils. Really fill the whole body up. When you're ready to exhale, open your mouth wide and give a nice audible sigh. Once that air is completely left your body, inhale again through the nose. Maybe take in a little bit more air into the top. And then let your mouth open. Nice big sigh to let it all out. Do that one more time. Inhaling through the nose, really big, full breath. Exhaling completely. And then just noticing as you kind of return to that evenness, inhaling and exhaling through the nose, noticing how that exhale as a sigh made you feel. If it allowed you to feel a little bit more relaxed, to kind of release a little bit more, perhaps get rid of some unnecessary tension, that can be a nice tool to remind the body to relax, to remind yourself to maybe let go a little bit more. And then let's start to work on building breath into different parts of the body so that we can kind of breathe into the whole body. So let's start by taking both hands to the low belly. So just holding where baby's home is, just resting your hands nice and low. And then as you breathe in and out, fill up that space, low belly. Fill up baby's home with a little bit more breath so that you're breathing into those hands. And then adding on from that low breath, keeping one hand there in front of you. Bring your other hand behind you. So the back of the hand rests at maybe somewhere between the low and middle back. So maybe just kind of below where the bottom tips of the ribs lie. And then with your inhale, fill up both hands, the hand in front of you, low belly breath, and let that breath move up a little higher and a little further behind you into the back body, so that you're breathing a little bit more into those spaces that you can't really see and sometimes tend to neglect. So a couple more breaths, breathing kind of low and into the back body, breathing into those hands, creating some space. And then let's move to the side body, taking your hands to the sides of your body, not to your waist, but maybe a little higher so that you're holding your rib cage. And then with your hands holding those ribs, start your next breath low from the low belly, breathing there into the back body, then into the sides of the body so that your rib cage is expanding to your hands with your inhale and you're exhaling completely. Take a couple more breaths like that. Really feel yourself opening up and expanding outward with the breath. And adding on from there, lay one hand over your heart. And then just rest the other hand right on top of that. So hands over the heart. As you inhale, build that breath from below, let it move all the way up the body into the chest so that it lifts the heart into the hands. And then you exhale completely. And then take a couple more breaths like that, really full body breaths. So remembering all of those areas that you are holding with your hands and filling up all of those areas so that you're breathing into the entire trunk of your body. And then even beyond that, so you can even envision the breath moving beyond that container of your torso into the arms, the legs, the neck, the head. Then simply transfer your hands together in front of your heart. So the palms are pressing together, fingers pointing up towards your chin. Then begin to slowly draw your chin to your chest. So you're bowing your head towards your hands. And then keeping the chin drawn in, release your hands back onto your knees or onto your lap. Then slowly lift your head. And then opening your eyes when you're ready, taking the room back in. Right. Let's stay seated. However, I'm going to encourage you to switch the way you're seated. So if you're crossed with one leg in front, swap it out for the other one or adjust how you are positioned. And then take a moment, just kind of rock a little bit side to side on your seat, and just so you can find center. You can find the center of your sitting bones. And then do a couple of shoulder rolls. Really big shoulder rolls, rolling your shoulders up, back, and down the back. And then maybe reversing directions, rolling them the other way, going back, forward a couple of times. And then relax your shoulders. Sit up nice and tall, draw the palms together in front of your heart once again. And then as the palms press, use that to kind of encourage your upper body to lift a little bit higher so the top of the head feels like it's trying to touch the ceiling. And then interlace your fingers right in front of your chest. Turning the heels of the hands forward, so the palms are right in front of you, the interlaced fingers are. You're going to press the palms now away from you as you straighten your arms with your fingers crossed. And then as you inhale, begin to take the hands higher and higher. Stop when you would start bending your elbows or you feel the shoulders hunch. So it may be lower for some, it may be higher for others. Watch that those shoulders don't creep toward the ears. And then take another inhale, sit up a little taller, shoulders down the back, palms pressing away from you. With your exhale, begin to twist to the right very slowly. Subtle twist from the bottom all the way up. So just turning any amount towards the right. Once you've turned about as far as you can go, unclasp the hands and stretch your arms out and then take them down to the ground. So your right hand comes behind you. You're going to cross your left hand to your right knee. And then make sure you're still seated upright so you're not leaning over to the side. So you're taking an easy seated twist, the upper body is lifted. And then with every exhale, just easing to face that right side any amount. And then with your exhale, unwind, facing forward. Bring your hands back together in front of you. Palms pressing, sit up tall. Now interlace your fingers with the opposite thumb in front, so the unusual way to clasp. And then doing the same thing as you press the palms away from you. So flexing the hands, straight arms, shoulders stay in the socket so they don't hunch forward like that. And then as you inhale, begin to take the hands slowly above the heart, any amount. So it may be here for some, it may be closer towards the ceiling, palms pressing away from the top of the head. Take another inhale, lengthen upward a bit more. And then with your exhale, begin that slow twist to the left. So you may not be turning very far, that's fine. So it should feel like a nice stretch all the way to the side body. And then unclasp the hands. And then as you reach toward the ground, right hand holds the knee, left hand behind you can press down, so to help you sit up a little taller. And as you breathe, easing into the twist, listening to your breath. And then with your exhale, unwind, facing forward. And then take a moment to sit up nice and tall as you stretch your arms out to the sides. And then let's take a couple of little side leans, reaching over towards the right. Keep your left hip anchored. Place the right hand down, left palm up, reach up high to the ceiling, and then arc it over towards the right. So you're feeling a big stretch along that left side of the rib cage. And then as you inhale, come all the way back up through center, arms stretched out. Start to take it to the other side, reach over to the left, hand down, right palm up as you reach to the ceiling. And then soften the shoulders down the back, maybe sweep that right arm further over to the side, keeping the hips anchored. And then coming through center, let's move with the breath. Exhale, reach to the right, hand down, left palm up and over. And then inhaling back through center, tipping to the left. Exhale over to that side. Inhale through center. Exhale back to the right. Inhaling center. Exhaling left. Inhaling center. Back to the right. Inhale, center, last time, up and over to the left. And then with your inhale, come through center, stay there, stretch the arms really far apart. Rotate the palms up, and as you take the hands higher and higher, lean the head back, so you're starting to gaze up toward the ceiling. Make sure the shoulders don't hunch up. Feel free to stay with your hands a little wider than the shoulders to keep the chest open. Take another big inhale, lift a little taller. And then with your exhale, bend your elbows, hands press together, and then bring them all the way down in front of your chest. Okay, let's take ourselves to hands and knees position. Uncrossing your legs or coming up from seated. If you're seated on something, you can set it aside. If you have a blanket or towel to place under the knees, if you want that set up, that may be comfortable for the knees. So let's start in a tabletop position on hands and knees. I'm going to have us begin with cat and cow. So as you inhale, start to gaze past your mat, start to look forward, and then draw the shoulders a little further back and lengthen your chest ahead. On your exhale, press into the ground, really get your upper back to round, and then let your head and your neck hang, so just gazing at your belly. And then take that cow pose again, inhale, heart draws forward, look ahead. With your exhale, return to cat's breath. Let's do this a few times, inhaling forward, exhaling, really rounding the upper back. Inhaling again, exhaling, cat's breath. And then a couple more times, back and forth like that with your breath. And then take yourself back to neutral here. Widen your knees. And then let your hips wag. Start by just shifting side to side. And then we're going to start to circle the hips around. So once you shift to one side, move toward the back of your mat, roll to the other side, and then go forward over your hands a bit. So you're making nice big circles. And then just let yourself move around like that a couple more times, one direction. And then start to circle the other way a few times. Make this small movement. You can make it really big. You can even kind of roll the head around, whatever feels good. Feel free to add an open mouth sigh. Notice if that allows you to kind of get out of your head and into your body a bit more. And then as you settle back in through neutral here, keep the knees wide. Tuck your toes behind your knees. Lift your knees up and come into down dog. Go ahead and start to pedal the feet right away. One knee bending and then the other. You can even let the hips shift side to side here. So just letting your legs walk out a bit. Try not to dunk into the hands so much as you push into the hands and stretch away from the wrists. And then start to still the pedaling of the feet, but keep the knees maybe just a tiny bit bent. And try to push the hips further, further, further back. So you're really lengthening the spine. And then go ahead and take the knees all the way back down. You're going to take child's pose. So either toes together, hips to the seat. If that's a little too uncomfortable, if you need more space for the belly, just keep the hips up in the air and lower the forearms, crossing them in front of you and rest your forehead there. Then from your child's pose, now keep in mind you can always take child's pose at any time or anything restful as we progress through class. You're going to come back up to hands and knees. This time make your tabletop a little bit more even. So have the knees right underneath the hips, have the wrists right underneath the shoulders. And then stepping your left foot back, you're going to come onto the ball of the foot. So go ahead and just seal the ball of the foot behind you, and then extend your right arm forward, so opposite arm and leg. And then take a moment here, keep lifting up away from the ground, so try to not overarch the lower back. I know it's easy to do when you're pregnant, so just kind of maintain a little length across the back body. consider starting to float that left foot up away from the ground so that the toes point down and then the heel is pressing straight back behind that hip. The hips are even and then that opposite right arm is reaching straight out in front of you. And then with your exhale, lower it back to hands and knees. And take a moment to sit back onto your heels. Maybe kind of shake out that left wrist a little bit. So if you're dealing with any kind of carpal tunnel, you may need to take extra breaks or just come off of the hands from time to time if it's too much. When you're ready, come back forward to your hands and your knees. And then this time you're going to step your right foot back, sealing the ball of the foot to begin so the leg is straight. And then opposite left arm extends straight out in front of you. And then maybe this is enough today. Maybe you don't want to lift the back foot. You just want to lengthen by reaching arm and leg. If you want to start to slowly lift the foot, finding a little bit of balance here, make sure you're just gently hugging baby to belly so that you're not kind of dipping too much into that lumbar spine. Extend and stretch out in both directions. Arm forward, leg back. Take another inhale. And then lower to hands and knees on the exhale. Maybe take a moment, shake out the wrists, roll it around a little bit. And then once you're back to all fours, let's try this with the breath. So you can either do the foot stepping back or you can extend it straight back. So when you're ready, you're going to take your right leg back and your left arm forward at the same time as you inhale, lengthen. Then exhale, right back to hands and knees. Switching sides, right arm and left leg extend. Exhale, back to the mat. Inhale, first side again, reach it up. Exhale, lower. Second side, inhale, reach. Exhale to the mat. Inhale with the breath, reach it out. Exhale, hands and knees. Inhale, reach it. Exhale to the mat. One more time each side, inhale, stretch it out. Exhale, hands and knees. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hands and knees. All right, let's do this. Let's come off of the hands. Walk your hands to your knees. You're going to come up to kneeling so that your hips are right above your knees. And then once you're in this position, take your hands behind you. Interlace your fingers. And then we're going to take a little shoulder stretch. You're going to shrug your shoulders up away from the ground, roll them back, and then maybe brush your tailbone down. Pull the chest up and lean the head back. So the shoulders are rolling behind you, the chest is lifting up away from the ground, and then make sure you're preserving the space in the lower back by not kind of overarching into the lumbar spine. You're lifting the back ribs up, and then you're stretching the knuckles down, but drawing the heart up. And then unclasp the hands. Looking forward, lean back to your mat, come back to your hands here for a moment. And then I'm going to have you curl your toes under, walk your hands to your knees. You're going to lift your knees and point them out to the sides. So you're coming into a little froggy squat here. So your heels are lifted, don't even worry about getting the heels down. So I'm going to turn to face you if you need to see what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of sitting onto my heels here. And then my knees are outside my arms, just maybe fingertips on the ground. And I'm just going to start to kind of lift one hip at a time. And as I do that, the knee lifts higher, then I turn slightly to that side. And then I'm going to lift my right knee a little bit, keep it there. I'm going to curl my left hand over to the left to kind of encourage that left knee to open out a bit. Then I'm going to start to twist over to the right. So your hand can be to the ground, you can be on fingertips or a block. And then as you open towards the right, make a fist with your right hand and rotate it. Nice big stretch for the wrist, rotate it the other way. And then open that hand wide. Take that arm all the way down to the inside of that leg, and then switching sides. Crawl that right hand over, start to twist to the other side of the left, reach the left arm nice and high, open the chest, maybe lean the head back, make a fist and circle the wrist around. And then open it up, lower that arm all the way down. Now you're just gonna walk forward, returning slowly to hands and knees. So you're going to bring yourself back to your tabletop position here. And then let's do this. Curl your toes under, lift your knees up. You're going to come back to down dog. Step your feet as wide as you would like, maybe even as wide as your mat. And then really press the hips back. And then keep the hips pulling back. You're going to start to slowly walk your hands back towards your feet. So you're going to come to a forward fold at the back of your mat. Keep your knees soft. Let your arms hang or consider clasping your elbows so that you can really release down. Keep in mind your feet are going to be as wide as you need for comfort. If any of this doesn't jive with you, that makes you uncomfortable, slowly come upright. If you're enjoying this forward fold, really just release down. Maybe even sway or nod the head if you like. And then unclasp the arms. Bend the knees quite a bit. Just let yourself slowly rise up. So let the back body stay rounded for as long as you need to come all the way upright to stand. And then once you're upright standing, bring the hands to the heart. Let the shoulders draw back and down. Soften the knees that tiny amount so you can find the weight distributed evenly in the feet so that they're not so far into the balls of the feet. It's not forcing you to go too extreme into that pelvic tilt. You're letting the heels take a little bit more weight, keeping the knees a little bit soft, centering the weight in the feet. Okay, let's do some half prenatal sun salutes. On an inhale, you're going to sweep your arms wide and stretch up to the ceiling, stand tall, maybe look up. On your exhale, bend your elbows, bend your knees, lean forward and come all the way back down to a forward fold. Then placing your hands onto your shins or maybe even your thighs as high as you need to stretch forward. Finding a flat back here so your spine is long, maybe even coming a little further into the balls of the feet. And then as you exhale, release forward all the way down. Bending your knees quite a bit, feet stay parallel. You're going to transfer the weight back into your heels now. Sit the hips low as you take your arms forward and up. So you're coming into a wide-legged chair pose. And then sink a little deeper into the heels so you feel the leg muscles really working. Then on an inhale, press to stand, straighten the legs, reach all the way up high. And then exhale, take the hands to the heart. Let's do that perhaps a little bit faster or with your breath pace. Take an inhale, float the arms wide, reach all the way up. Exhale, melt as you come all the way down to a forward fold. On an inhale, hands to shins or thighs, stretch forward, lengthen the crown of the head ahead. Exhale, folding the legs, bending the knees. Arms swing forward and up to counterbalance as the hips drop back and down, sit lower. Inhaling, press to stand. Exhaling, hands to heart. Let's do 2 more of those. Inhale, float the arms wide, reach up. Exhale, melt forward, fold. Inhale, halfway up, flat back. Exhale, folding it again, bending the knees. Wide-legged chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, go deep into the chair. Inhale, press to stand. Exhale, hands to the heart. One more time. Inhale, arms sweep to the ceiling. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, folding in. Bending the knees. Go low into the chair as you exhale even deeper. Press to stand as you inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Great. Let's stay standing. So I'm going to have you take your hands to your hips. I'm going to turn to the side. You can choose to stay forward if you'd like. And you're going to step your feet out a little bit wider now. And you're going to turn the toes out 45 degrees. And then I'm going to have you do this, bending your knees, look down, bend them just a little bit, make sure the knees are pointing over the toes, so adjust your stance accordingly, angle the feet differently, widen the stance if needed. And then you're going to start to lean forward a bit. And then you're going to start to move your hands down your thighs. Once they get toward the knees, press onto the thighs and straighten the arms so it's like you're just kind of sitting here in this squat. Notice if the shoulders are hunched forward like this, draw them back, pull the chest forward. Lengthen the upper body on an inhale. With your exhale, you're going to take a twist to the right slowly, but don't let the left knee start to come in towards the center. Keep it pointing over the toes. And then inhaling back to center, and then exhaling to the other side. And then inhaling back to center. Let's do that one more time each side. Twisting to the right. Left shoulder drops to the middle. Inhaling center. Exhaling to the other side. Inhaling to center. Now, stay here. Lift the chest, draw the shoulders back. Now make the hands lighter. Stretch the arms out. Lift the heart. So instead of leaning forward, be upright. Sit 1 inch lower. Turn the palms up, press to stand, inhale, straighten the legs, reach for the ceiling. And then exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Excellent. So stay in this wide stance with the toes turned out. Take your arms out wide. And I'm gonna have you cross your right arm over your left. Make a nice big circle. So right's gonna go over. Try to cross at or maybe past the elbows. And then either complete the rep, eagle arms, or you can just hug the shoulders. So you're gonna stretch for the shoulders. So that if you're crossing eagle, the elbows are gonna lift a little higher. The forearms are gonna move further away from your face. So they're right in the center of your vision. Fingers pointing up. Then without leaning forward, drop your tailbone straight down, bending your knees straight over your toes, coming into that squat. Right, once you're there, lift just your right heel. Press the ball of the foot. Lower it down. Lift the left. Press the ball of the foot. Lower it down. Bend your knees an inch further, sit a little lower. Uncross the arms, stretch them out. Palms up, reach for the ceiling, straighten the legs. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Okay, let's do that again. Arms stretch out. This time, left is going to sweep over the right. So switch the crossing. So maybe it's the shoulder hug for you today if that feels a little more accessible. Or if you like the eagle wrap, if that's accessible, try to get the palms to press and the thumb side of the hand to be right in front of your face. And then fingers point up, elbows lift as high from the ground as you can. Then keep the arms wrapped. Start to slowly bend the knees. So without leaning forward or sticking the butt out behind you, drop your seat straight down. And then go ahead and lift your left heel. Lower it slowly. Lift your right. Lower it slowly. Then go even deeper, set the hips even lower. Yes. Slowly unwrap the arms. Continue breathing. Stretch open across the chest. Maybe sit an inch deeper, palms up, press to stand, slowly straighten the legs, reach all the way to the ceiling, and then take the hands to the heart as you exhale. Take your hands to your hips, bend the knees a bit, and just walk the feet a little closer together. And then keep the feet parallel, so they can be as wide as you'd like, so preferably hips distance or a little wider, so you don't want your feet too narrow. I'm going to take a little side stretch here. Float your arms wide as you reach to the ceiling, look up. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. Extend straight up to the ceiling as you stand tall, without the shoulders punching up, try to draw them down the back. You're going to exhale and start to lean slowly over to the right. So that should be a nice big side stretch the more you tip over, keeping the chest open. And then as you inhale, come all the way back up through center. Grabbing the other wrist, stretch it straight up. Inhale, standing tall, shoulders down the back. Take it to the other side as you exhale. Slowly tip to that side. And then as you inhale, come all the way back up through center. As you exhale, release that wrist. Go ahead and start to lean forward. Come all the way down to a forward fold. And then once you're there, inhale, bring the hands to the shins. Come halfway up. Exhale, folding down. Coming through chair pose, Utkatasana, bend the knees, sit the hips low. And then go even deeper into that chair pose. Really anchor the heels. Beautiful. Then press to stand, inhale, reach to the ceiling. And then exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Right. So if you're not already at the back of your mat, go ahead and come back to the back of your mat. So take that same parallel stance with the feet. Once again, as wide as you need to feel comfortable and stable. And then take the hands to the heart. Inhale, float the arms wide, reach to the ceiling. Once again, melt, bend the elbows, bend the knees, fold all the way down. Inhale, stretch halfway up, hands to shins, flat back. Exhale, folding over the legs, bend the knees as much as you need to, bring the hands to the ground. Start to walk them slowly forward. So you're gonna come back to a downward facing dog. And then once you're in your downward facing dog, soften the knees, pull the hips further back. And then go ahead and take the knees down. Maybe take a brief child's pose if you'd like. Or if you don't need a child's pose, maybe do a little bit of cat and cow. You want to just continue moving. And then go ahead and come to neutral, hands and knees. So if you're in child's pose, come back to all fours. And then I'm gonna have us come up to kneeling. So you're gonna walk your hands to your knees, return to kneeling so your hips are above your knees, bring your hands to your hips. So I'm gonna turn to face you so you can see what we're doing. So kneeling. So you're going to lift your right knee and you're gonna step it to the side. So you're gonna make a nice little 90-degree angle. So the toes are pointing over to the side and your right knee is right above your ankle. And the left hip is above the left knee. And then the upper body is nice and lifted. And then take your right hand, the back of the hand to the inside of the knee. And then as you inhale, lengthen through the upper body. And then as you exhale, take a subtle twist to the left and then let the hand press into the knee so that the knee doesn't push the hand forward. So you should feel a nice little stretch in the inner thigh as you gently turn away from that side of the room over to the left of it. Keep the hand and knee glued together for another moment. Reach your left arm to the side. Turn the palm up. Inhale, raise that arm nice and high to the ceiling. Now release the hand and knee combination. Bend your right elbow forward to the thigh. Press down. Lengthen your left arm higher and then over to the side. So you're taking another side body stretch here. Try to relax that left shoulder. Try to press that right forearm down into the thigh to lift that side of the body up away from it. And then inhale, come back through center. Bring the hands to the hips. You're gonna heel toe your right foot now to the front of your mat. So the toes point forward. Have the foot maybe outside of the hip, but the toes and knees forward. So you don't want it too narrow, you want space for the belly. And then maybe wiggle those toes forward a bit. Then you're gonna start to lean forward, enough that you can bring your left hand to the ground. And then once the hand comes to the ground, maybe it comes to a block. That's where some of those props may come in handy. You're gonna walk your right foot maybe even further to the side. Then you're going to lean further forward. Let your back left hip release forward and down. Then you're gonna start to twist towards the right. Then maybe take your right hand, pointing the fingers down to the inside of the knee or thigh, and start to push it away from you. Give yourself space. Maybe continue pulling the upper body forward and leaning the head back towards the left as you push that knee toward the right. So it's a pretty big open twist here. And then go ahead and come onto the sole of that foot. And then do this for me today. Take your right hand down as well. So both hands are to the inside. So they can be on blocks. If you need height, place blocks or props under the hands. So if you do the visual with that. Maybe you're here, maybe your hands are on the ground. And then try to get your right toes to wiggle forward a little bit more and your left hip to release a little further down. Maybe walk the hands forward or the blocks forward. So you're in a deep lizard lunge stretch here. Then if you want to stay here, hands on the ground, stay here. If you feel like you want to go deeper, maybe you come to forearms, but make sure you're not punching forward and going back here. You're pulling ahead. So this may be a little too intense, forearms down to the ground or blocks. So maybe you stay in the hands, whatever works, and start slow hip circles. So you're doing a very subtle movement, rolling the hips around and around. And then start to go the other direction, rotating the other way, just small circles, starting to loosen up. And then eventually come to stillness. And then go ahead and shift the hips a little further back and start to very carefully walk your right foot further back as well. Kind of wiggle it maybe further to the right, further back. Once it's far back enough, move your hands back or come off the blocks. And then when you're ready, slowly take that right knee back down. So once you're back to hands and knees, go ahead and wag the hips a little side to side. Maybe circle them. Maybe do a little cat and cow. So just kind of movement to kind of bring things back to neutral before we take the other side. And then when you're ready, go ahead and walk your hands back to your knees, come back up to kneeling. And then with your hands on your hips, you're going to lift your left knee, and you're going to step it off to the side. So I'll turn forward again. So footsteps to the side. So just coming into that nice 90-degree angle here. And then keeping the right knee under the hip. Place that left hand to the inside of the knee. Keep the knee right above the ankle. So you don't want to let the knee push the hand forward. Go ahead and press the back of the hand and the knee together. And then inhale, let the upper body lift a little taller. And with your exhale, take that subtle twist to the right. And then don't let the knee win. Keep the hand and knee glued together as you twist away from them. And then reach that right arm over to the right. Turn the palm up. Inhale that arm straight up to the ceiling for a lot of height. And then go ahead and bend your left elbow. And then without collapsing that side down, press that forearm into the top of the thigh, reach that right hand higher, and then maybe further over. And then inhaling all the way back upright, taking your hands to your hips. Go ahead and start to heel toe that foot forward. And then once you get that foot forward, maybe crawl the toes a little further forward, sink the knee forward. Maybe take your hands to the thigh. And then you're going to lean forward slowly and bring your right hand maybe to the ground or maybe to a block. And then just taking that foot further to the side so you can come deeper into that lunge. So you want to get that back hip to lower down. So we're going to start with that twist. So maybe bring the hand and rotate the fingers to the inner thigh. And then start to push the knee away so you can lift the inner edge of the foot and get it further from you. Let your upper body stretch forward more. And then with your exhale, turn toward the bent knee as you push it away from you. Lean your head back in the opposite direction. And then notice this right bottom shoulder. Make sure it's not punching forward here. Draw that back to keep the chest open. So it should feel like a nice, big, open, stretchy twist. And then slowly come onto the sole of the foot a little bit more. So you can perhaps wiggle it further to the side if needed. And then bring that left hand to the inside. Maybe crawl the hands forward a bit, and then let the back hip release down. So you're coming into this nice big open lizard lunge stretch. So it should be a good stretch for this outer left hip, and a pretty good stretch for the top of this back thigh, so this hip flexor, this muscle that runs from behind the waist all the way down the front of the thigh. It doesn't get stretched enough very often. So once you're there on your hands, maybe you stay there. You start to kind of circle around, or maybe you're going lower to forearms. Maybe the forearms come to blocks, or if you're very open, maybe they're on the floor. Just make sure that doesn't kind of pop your hips up and hunch you forward. So only go as low as you need to. Maybe you're staying higher today, using some props to elevate you. You can also use a thick cushion or the bolster as well, if you have that. And just circling around slowly, opening up the hips. Go ahead and circle the other direction a few times. And then when you're ready to slow that down, start to walk that foot further to the side and further back, maybe lifting the hips, shifting back, walking your hands back. So do this slowly. Any kind of bigger, deeper stretches like this, you want to come out of them very carefully. Once you're back to hands and knees, take whatever movement you like. Wag the hips, circle the hips, do some cat and cow, and just let your body move around a bit. And then when you're ready, coming back to neutral, I'm gonna have us one more time come into downward facing dog. Knees as wide as you need. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, press back, pedal the feet a little bit for a moment, just a little walking it out. And then as you still the pedaling of the feet once more, walk the hands slowly back towards the feet. Come back to that forward fold. And then as you inhale, come to Ardha Uttanasana, hands to shins or thighs, stretch ahead, lengthen the spine. Exhale, folding in, bending the knees one more time, chair pose, Utkatasana. Sit deep into that chair, get that seat low. On your next inhale, press to stand, reach all the way up. And then exhale, take the hands to the heart. All right, let's take some standing poses. Bring yourself to a part of your mat, maybe the middle, where you can step your feet out nice and wide. So you may need to turn to the side. So you're going to take an even wider stance than we did before. So there's good distance between the feet. If you stretched your arms out like this, you ideally want to try to get your ankles underneath your wrists. So fairly wide stance. Once you have that, bring the hands back to the hips. Bend your right knee. Once the knee is bent, turn from the hip socket to point the knee and toes straight forward. Knee tracking over the toes. Then you're going to adjust your back left foot. Let the left toes come in closer to the front, and then let the heel lift and slide a little further away from you. So you want to set up a 45-degree angle with that foot and actually that entire leg. So angle in 45, and then have the arch of the foot ideally line up with your right heel. Once you have that set up with the feet, bend your right knee straight forward. Don't let it wave in towards the left. It wants to go straight ahead. And then take your hands from your waist to your rib cage. Pick the rib cage up, lift it, and then adjust it so it faces the side. So you're not turning toward the bent knee. Your upper body faces the side. And then breathe into the hands. Take a moment here to expand the rib cage. Relax the shoulders. And then keeping the upper body nice and lifted, stretch the arms as far away from one another as you can. So you're in warrior two. And then slowly just turn your head to look at your right fingertips. Bend your right knee just a little further. Then with an inhale, slowly press your right leg to straight, float your arms all the way up to the ceiling, twirl the hands, maybe pretend you're holding a giant beach ball, maybe look at it. And then keeping the upper body lifted, open the arms wide, bend the knee forward and just look past your right hand. Come back to warrior two. Let's go in and out like that. Arms to the ceiling, straighten the leg, reach. Exhale, bend the knee, warrior two. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, warrior two. Once again, inhale, reach up. Exhale, warrior two. Stay in warrior two. Keep the right knee bent. Now, take your left hand to your hip. Reach your right hand forward, over that front thigh. Bend your elbow. Take the form to the thigh, palm up. Open your chest to the side even more. Press form to the thigh and then raise your left arm to the ceiling. Either keep it there or turn the palm back and then extend the arm over the ear so that you have a long line through that whole top left side of the body. Hug your right hip in a bit more, scoop it under you. Beautiful. From your side angle pose, stretch that right hand to the ceiling. You can keep it there or bring it back to the hip. Push into the feet. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Then take your hands to your hips. Turn your right toes to face forward. Parallel your left foot to your right foot. Then take a moment to stand nice and tall. We're going to take that on the other side. Let your left knee bend. And then turn from the hip socket, pointing the toes forward. Peel your right toes in. Send that heel further back. So create a true 45-degree angle. And then align heel to arch. And then just make sure you get that left knee to bend deeply. Make sure it doesn't go past the ankle. If it does, you may need to widen the stance so you can get a nice strong bend and that comes right on top of the ankle bone. And then take your hands up a little higher, hold your ribs, spin your ribs back to the side so that you're not turning or leaning over your front left thigh. And then pick the ribs up. Create some space along the back body, the sides of the waist, the front body, and then stretch the arms out wide. Soften the shoulders. And then let your gaze fall past your left fingertips. Bend the left knee maybe another inch for a moment. And then as you inhale, straighten the front leg, raise the arm to the ceiling, reach up. Moving with your breath, exhale, bend the knee, look forward, warrior two. Inhale again, arms reach. Exhale, knee bends. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reach. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back to warrior two. Stay with that bent knee. Take your right hand to your hip and extend your left arm as far out as you can. Then bend your elbow, form to thigh, but no collapsing down. Press into that thigh and keep the chest open. Raise your right arm to the ceiling. Keep the left knee bending forward. Press your back right heel a lot. And then maybe take that top arm overhead. Wrap the outer upper arm, tricep in. And then without hunching the ear to the shoulder, just extend the arm over it. Keep both sides of the neck long. So stretching the head and the fingertips forward, pressing that back heel, hugging your left hip under you. Building really strong legs. Raise the right arm to the ceiling or take the hand to the hip if you prefer. Anchor those feet. Use those strong legs to inhale all the way back upright, coming to a brief warrior two. And then hands on the hips as you slowly parallel the feet. And then softening the knees, slide the heels in and then the toes, and then just continue walking the feet closer together. And then do a little bit of a dance here, kind of wagging the hips side to side, maybe lifting a heel at a time. And then let's come back down to our mats. I'm going to have you come back to sit. So if you'd like, you can set up a blanket or towel to sit on if you need. I'm going to have you sit like this. So your feet are on the mat, and then your hands can just come behind you, so you don't want to slouch back. You want to be able to sit up nice and tall. So maybe even on the fingertips to try to come a little more vertical first. So keep in mind, your feet can definitely be wider than your hips, and have the feet as far away from you as you need to for space. So I'm going to turn that to the side. So I'm going to have us do a little pelvic stabilization. This is a nice thing to do if you're dealing with a little instability, if you're kind of struggling with some sciatic issues. This is a nice way to kind of stabilize the pelvis. So with your feet, let's scoot back a little bit. Your feet are parallel. Once again, feet as wide as you need. I'm going to have you do this. Bring your arms inside of your legs. So probably the lower arms are right in, kind of inside the knees. Then keeping your feet sealed, you're going to press your straight arms into your inner knees, and you're going to press your knees back into your arms. So give everything a nice little squeeze so you feel the hips kind of hugging in. And then just take a couple of breaths like that, just really working to press the two together so that neither moves. And then very slowly release that, keeping your legs where they are, or you can take them in a little bit if needed. You're not going to take the arms to the outside of the knees. So keeping the arms straight, try to not lock the elbows though, maybe a little bit in the elbows, but keeping the rest of the arms nice and straight. Feet stay where they are. Now do the opposite. Press the knees into the arms and arms into knees with the arms on the outside. So it's going to feel a little bit different. You're going to feel it in different places, probably a little bit more into the inner part of the hips. Take a couple of breaths like that. And then release. Maybe do that one more time each side. So arms inside of the knees. Arms are straight. And then arms and knees press together strongly. Neither moves, neither wins. Try to relax the shoulders. And then when you're ready, release. Go to the outside and do the same thing. Glue the two together. Continue breathing. When you're ready, slowly release. Right. Go ahead and take your hands behind you now. So I'm going to turn back to the side. And then fingers can point to the sides or forward. And the hands can be wider than the shoulders. Feet are wider than the hips. Keep the feet sealed. Press into the hands and the feet. As you inhale, you're going to slowly lift your hips up, up, up away from the ground, coming to a reverse tabletop. Maybe try to get the thighs parallel to the ceiling. And then slowly exhale, take it back down. Pause. Do that again. Try to not lock the elbows. When you're ready, press into hands and feet. As you inhale, lift the hips up. Maybe it's just a little bit today, or maybe you're working to try to get everything a little higher, maybe even extend the neck. And then slowly exhale, lower all the way down. Maybe do that one more time. Push into the hands and the feet. When you're ready, inhale, lift the hips up. Try to go a little bit higher, try to get a little more length through the crown of the head. And then slowly exhale, lower all the way down. And then take a moment, come to seated, cross your legs in front of you. Right, and then rotate the wrists. And then maybe once more do a little eagle wrap stretch. That feels good. Or you can always do that kind of holding one shoulder, pulling the arm across. And then switch sides. So either kind of pull that arm over, or eagle wrap arms, or shoulder hug. And then go ahead and release. All right, so I'm going to have us do a seated twist here. So you're going to stretch your right leg forward. And then you're going to bend your left knee. And you're going to have that foot kind of to the outside. So this may be easy seat for you. You may need to put something underneath your seat. So have this foot as wide out as you need so that your belly has space. So your right arm, or your right leg is extended forward, or you can angle it slightly. And then have this foot onto the mat. You're going to place your right hand behind you to prop you up. You're going to bring your left elbow to the inside of the knee. And then you're doing that same thing where you glue the two together but neither move. So this is a nice big stretchy twist. If this is too much, you can always take the cross-legged one we did in the beginning of class. So you're going to press the elbow and knee together, sit up tall, backhand props you up, inhale, and then exhale. I'm just going to start to turn to the right. Yeah, so by letting the elbow and knee press together, that eases you deeper into that twist. And then as you exhale, release. You're going to switch sides. Send your left leg either forward or angled a bit. Bending your right knee. Have the foot as wide as you need to. If you need to kind of shift to the side and then bring yourself a little further in. So maybe backhand on a block. Maybe your seat is on something. So press behind you. Sit up tall. Bend your right elbow. Elbow to the inside of the knee. So once again, this one doesn't win, this one doesn't win. So stamp that right foot down, send that left leg forward. Inhale, sit up tall, and then exhale, start to twist to the left. And then as you exhale, go ahead and release. And then send your right leg out. So take a moment, maybe widen the position of the legs a little bit. We're going to take a seated V shape. So it doesn't have to be crazy wide if you're kind of struggling to get the legs wider. Have them as wide as you can comfortably still sit upright. So it may be closer to here for others, it may be angled even further forward for some. So once you have your seat, if you need to, once again, put something under your seat or kind of grab your seat out from under you so you can sit up nice and tall, you're going to flex the feet and point the toes up to the ceiling. And then you're going to sit up tall as you inhale, stretch the arms out. And then as you exhale, you're going to take a subtle twist back to the left, just enough that your right arm is extending straight over your right leg. And then you're going to reach over that leg. So reach all the way out as far as you can go. Take your hand down. If the toes are available, grab them, or the foot, or the ankle or calf. You can even rest your forearm on a prop. Look back to your back left hand. Turn it up as you inhale. Reach it up to the ceiling. So this is a bigger side stretch. Maybe you're just going to stay a little bit more upright. Maybe you're going to stretch that arm further over the extended leg as well. So by having the legs out wide like this, it keeps the hips more anchored and forces a bigger stretch here. So you can soften it as needed, stay a little bit more upright. Or if you want to go deeper, go a little deeper, but take it slow. Any deeper stretch you don't want to like plop right into, you want to ease into, letting your breath tell you, maybe this is enough, maybe go a little further, but do so mindfully. And then as you inhale slowly, come all the way up to sit, arms stretched out. Inhale, exhale, take that subtle twist to the right. So just enough that you can get this arm angled straight over the leg. And then begin to reach all the way out past the leg. And then take it down, grab calf, toes, take forearm to block. If you have a belt or a strap, you can always loop it around the toes as well. Look to the right hand, reach it up high. And then take it slow. Maybe you don't go so deep into it. Maybe you start to slowly take it further. Bigger side stretch. Notice the shoulders right now. Feel if they're kind of creeping up to the ears. Move them down the back so the neck can have some space. And then listening to your breath. And then slowly inhaling all the way through center. And then take the hands down in front of you. Exhale, sit up nice and tall for a moment, shoulders back. And you're just going to begin to slowly crawl the hands forward and out. It doesn't need to go very far if you're already feeling a good stretch to the inner thighs. That's great. Keeping the toes and knees pointed straight up though, without the feet flopping forward. You're just going to tip forward. Maybe you just walk the hands out a bit and stay. Maybe you go further. If you have props, blocks, books, bolsters, and want to use them in front of you, resting your forearms or your hands on them, anything that allows you to get this nice stretch. And then once you're in it, just be there for a few breaths, just allowing each inhale to kind of lengthen your upper body. Feel your spine just elongate each time you inhale. And then maybe the exhale allows you to tip forward ever so slightly more. And begin to bring yourself slowly back upright. And if you have some props in front of you, move them behind you. Grab the backs of the knees. And then lean back a bit so you can start to pull the knees up and drag your feet onto the mat or onto the ground. And bring your hands behind you. And then you're just going to let your knees kind of drop side to side. And maybe let that opposite hip lift a little bit, get a little bit of a stretch in the lower back as you do that. And then as you come through center, cross your legs in front of you. We're going to finish with one last brief hip stretch. So you're going to take a seated forward fold here. So without having the knees too wide, so the knees are just a little wider than the hips, the legs are just crossed at the shins, flex the feet. Bring your hands to your knees, sit up tall, flat back, shoulders roll behind you. And then as you exhale, just begin to tip forward. Try to keep the feet flexed. And then maybe take the hands down and crawl forward, or maybe you're staying a little bit more upright as long as you're feeling this stretch in the outer hips. If you're not feeling it by just having the legs crossed, if your hips are very open, instead of having one leg in front, you're going to stack the legs on top of fire log. But only do that if you can get this knee down and you can keep the legs completely parallel. So that may need to be where you are, or you may need to stay with your legs just crossed in front, Sukhasana. And you're just letting the hands crawl forward, stop when you need to, pause and breathe, listen to your breath. And then just walking the hands back slowly. When you're ready, come back upright and switch the legs. So other shin in front or other leg on top if you were doing the double pigeon variation. And then sit up tall, shoulders back. As you exhale, tip forward, taking your time, easing into your hip stretch. Maybe walking your hands forward. And walking your hands once again back to you so you can sit upright. Take a moment to stretch the legs out. Just let the legs kind of shift a little side to side for a moment. Maybe bounce the knees. And before we ease into Shavasana, maybe take a seat with your feet together, legs in a diamond shape. And just start to sway a little bit. Let your body just rock a little side to side. Maybe close your eyes and just kind of feel yourself move however you want to move. Maybe circle around, rolling all the way around one direction, moving, switching the other way. And then starting to ease slowly back to center, to just pause and sit upright once more. And taking your time, slowly make your way into your final resting pose. So that may be just lying onto your side, it may be lying on a couch using body pillows and props. If you do have 2 blocks and a bolster, I'll show you this setup. L shape with the blocks. Bolster over that. So if you have this, this is an option. If not, anything else that's comfortable for you. So you're going to make your way into Shavasana, laying it down, or if you'd like, you can just remain seated. Something that will allow your body to relax, that you don't have to hold. So I'm going to maybe stretch my legs forward today. You can always take the legs together, feet together, Baddha Konasana. You can cross at the shins, anything that feels right for you. When you are ready, when you feel settled and you're able to close your eyes and let everything rest, take one last inhale through the nose. Let your mouth open and give a nice long sigh as you exhale and let go. Allow yourself to rest in Shavasana. Feel free to stay in Shavasana, obviously, as long as you would like. If you are ready to move on with your day, take your time to slowly come back to seated position. Move however you need to get there. Maybe come straight up, roll to your side for support. Then just draw yourself up slowly, finding a comfortable seat. Once you're upright, bring a hand to your belly. Finding baby's home. Lay the other hand over your heart. Close your eyes one last time as you connect to baby, to your breath, to your body, to your practice. Then transfer the hands together in front of the heart. Press the palms together, sit up nice and tall. As you inhale, let the heart lift to the hands. As you exhale, gently, humbly bow the head toward the fingertips. Thank you for joining me for class today. Namaste. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you very much.